Welcome to Encounters with Life. This is Sean Abigail, your host. Canada's national debt is crippling us. It is huge. It is a problem that is getting worse. And if we do not take strong measures to tackle it, it will bring us down economically. Can you imagine what will happen if there is a 40, 50, 60% drop in our ability to fund our social programs, just to name one example? Well, today we're going to look at that debt. We're going to look at the interest costs. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share a fact that is going to make your blood boil. So let's think a little bit about the national debt. It reminds me, in fact, of a husband and a wife. And the husband, he likes to spend. He likes to buy things and he just puts it on the credit card and he wants to spend some more. And the wife, she's not too sure about this. But he's saying to her, listen, as compared to our neighbors down the street, the Japanese, as compared to our neighbors across the street, the Germans, we're not doing too bad on the debt. We've got room to put more on the credit card. And so he's always wanting to spend more money on important things. Well, that's the way it is with our politicians coming up with sophisticated reasons why it's okay for us to spend more money that we don't have. Well, just how bad is the problem? If you look at the Canadian Taxpayers Association, or Foundation, I should say, Canadian Taxpayers Foundation, they produce a debt clock, and it's continually moving because the debt is continually growing. Right now, our national debt, as I record this at the beginning of January 2025, our national debt is $1,245 billion, so $1.2 trillion. What does that work out to per person? About $29,700 per person. So if you've got a family of four, congratulations, you owe well over $100,000. That is a lot of money. But you might say to yourself, okay, we owe a lot, but listen, you can't blame Justin Trudeau for COVID. COVID came along, we had to spend a lot of money. Well, what do the facts say? Well, when Justin Trudeau was first elected, our national debt was $687 billion. And in the 4 years before COVID, he ran that up by $97.9 billion. So almost $100 billion, a 14.2% increase. That's in good times. That's on him. It has nothing to do with COVID. It just, he couldn't help himself. He just had to spend. Then, our national debt, when in December of 2019, was $785 billion. He ran it up some more during COVID, and to today, when it's $1.2 trillion, that is an increase of 58%, $459 billion increase in our national debt. That works out to an increase of $11,485 per capita. Now ask yourself, did all that money have to be spent on COVID? Did you use $11,000 per person in your family of testing kits? Did you get $11,000 per person of financial supports? Of course, the answer is no. That's ridiculous. Our government has continued to spend like a drunken sailor. Part of the problem is we are having a steadily increasing deficit. So the debt is the total amount of money on our credit card. The deficit is the extra that we're spending, extra that we're putting on the credit card every month. If you look at some Canadian government statistics, Canada records, it says that the federal government deficit was in 2023 $52.3 billion. And that's up from $43.1 billion in 2022. Now it's $61.9 billion. So it is absolutely heading in the wrong direction. Okay, lots of abstract numbers. And don't forget, stick around, and I'm going to say something that's going to make your blood boil at the end. But what does this national debt mean in practical terms? Well, if we look at our overall spending, and if we compare it to our deficit, if we were to eliminate the deficit, we were to reduce overall spending by 13.3%. It would be very difficult to do. Less available for everything, less available for health transfers, less available for social programs such as child tax benefit, and less available for the whole range of programs. But if we were to reduce our spending by 13.3%, and if we were to double the GST from 5% up to 10%, so increasing that revenue by 100%, it would still take us 25 years to pay off our national debt. Okay, what is the effect of interest rates? This is important because when our government was first elected, they said, well, interest rates are low. And so we've got room to make investments in sending out checks to people to make them happy. And that's what the government did. And then the interest rates went up. And you can see this report from the well-respected Fraser Institute. It says at the end, however, it appears the Trudeau government was short-sighted. Interest rates were low. We should spend. Yeah, but who could have guessed that interest rates would ever go up? Nobody could have guessed such a thing, I guess. Again, thinking about the husband and wife, and the husband wants to spend money, he's saying, the interest rates are really low. We should buy that boat now. Well, that only works if you pay off your debt before the interest rates go up. And we didn't. Okay, let's talk about the cost of borrowing. And this is a big one. So our debt interest, so this is the money that we pay out in interest payments to bankers and international financiers and so on. The debt payments, the debt interest charges loomed 37%. And you can see the report here on the screen. 10 cents now of every single dollar from taxpayers is now going to interest charge on the debt. Taxpayers are losing out on billions of dollars every month that can't be used to lower taxes or improve services because that money is going to pay the interest on the government credit card. So 10 cents out of every dollar the government spends is simply the interest on the debt. Now, what does that mean, for instance, for our healthcare programs? If you look at this chart, you will see that our interest cost, this is the federal interest cost. This is not including the costs on provincial debt. The cost on federal debt is approximately the same as the Canada Health Transfer. Now, the Canada Health Transfer is money that the federal government gives to the provinces to fund the healthcare system. And we absolutely cannot function without that. Our healthcare system will fall apart. The federal government has more taxing powers than the provinces, and so they tax and give the money to the provinces. Well, what we're paying in interest charges is about the same as what the federal government gives to the provinces. All right, all that is interesting, but now I promise to make your blood boil. And this is the graph that's going to do it. This is the picture that's going to do it. For the first time in 12 years, government debt costs will surpass GST revenue. So the GST in Canada is universally hated. Everyone hates paying the GST. Everything that you buy, all goods and services, with I guess the exception of groceries, you have to pay a 5% tax on. It is a huge revenue source for the government. But it is about the same amount of money as the interest payments on our debt. In other words, every time you spend money, you buy something, and you look at the bill and you say, oh, I paid this amount in GST. Just remember, this is not buying you any services. This is not helping Canadians who are needy. All this is doing is paying off the bankers, paying off the international financiers, paying off the people who buy Canadian federal government debt. It is doing nothing for your life. All it is doing is paying off the interest, not even touching the principal, because we never pay anything off on the principal. And that should make your blood boil. Well, what do you think? I know it can be a little bit of a dry topic, but it's an important topic. If you are a citizen of a free country, if you are exercising your vote and you are voting in people who will say, yes, we will spend more or we will spend less, you know what? You bear responsibility as well for what the governments of Canada have been doing with debt. So what are your thoughts? Please share your thoughts. I love to hear your thoughts. Hey, this has been Encounters with Life with Sean Abigail. If you've enjoyed this content, if you'd like to see more content like it, please like, subscribe, and share with others. Also leave a comment because I'm interested to know what you think. Thanks a lot.